You ever have a dame come in, just walk in looking like trouble? Only that dame is some kind of kaiju. Hey everyone, how you doing? For this month's patron pick, our patrons voted for us to play a game from indie dev EnbyKaiju. And of course, we picked out their game, Kaiju Noir, which I'm led to believe is just a noir mystery game, but featuring kaiju. Big kaiju. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It looks like, I love the aesthetic of it already. Let's go ahead and see what this is like. Kaiju now from Japanese. 1. Strange creature, giant monster, or dinosaur. Oh no. They say they've got to go. The unknowable creatures that dwell beneath the surface of the world, feared, hated, and misunderstood. New Monstropolis. Alright. A city of monsters, figuratively and literally. We giant beasts with dark hearts and darker souls trudge the streets of this stone world. A decade since the war ended and we kaiju chose to isolate ourselves in this place below the surface instead of coexisting with humans. The human culture pervades, however, seeping through the cracks into every element of this underground existence. A life of tainted isolation or oblivion. Sometimes you have to make the difficult choices every night of your life. Carrie. Every night another case, every night another horror story from the city of monsters. Who is this?
I don't know.
Do you want to be this person?
Sure. Carrie, are you awake?
That's what you're here for? Making a living on the fringe of society. Closing the book on the stories that always end badly.
Detective Karibara, you have a client.
You startle from your nightly indulgence of self-loathing. The office around you the same as it was 20 minutes ago. Was this the life you expected when you began your career as a private investigator? Does this office make you feel like one of the charismatic PIs for the movies you watch every week? The walls crumbling with stonework adorned with badly painted posters of those same films. Not squalor, but close. Your assistant, Alexorus, is looking at you in the bemused way he does every time he breaks you out of your daydreaming. What does he see when he looks at you? Ooh, what are we doing? Are we a cynic? We got to choose our character type here. Are we a cynic, an anti-hero, or hopeful? Broken down kaiju who just wants to be left alone? One of those silver screen hard-boiled untouchables? Or someone who just wants to make the city life a little better?
I think we gotta double down on the noir and go with the anti-hero.
Yeah, one of those silver screen hard-boiled untouchables? Hold on, let me see if I can get my swagger. Doesn't really matter. Perhaps. He always says the way that you see yourself changes your narrative, whatever that means. Practically part of the same brood. Cracked your eggs together, figuratively at least. You both went down your ways on that journey, but were there through all the weirdness that followed. He always has that grin on his face when he arouses you, still putting up with your nonsense after all this time. Being the sole private eye in a city of monsters isn't exactly the glamorous life. A couple of cramped rooms for an office with the cheapest furniture that could be carved from a block of granite. Alex never complains, though. What is it? Alex has worked with you since you started the agency a few years after the gates closed between the worlds, lured by the prospect of a reliable pay and lurid intrigue. In the years that followed, you failed to provide either on a regular basis. Part assistant, part taskmaster, he keeps the lights on, the tea strong, and your ego in check. Most of the time. You wish you could pay him more on time, but the City of Monsters rarely calls for the services of a private investigator.
I love that the outfits involve Alex wearing just a tie.
It's a good look. And like, do you see the double-layered spectacles?
Yeah.
It's very good. It's very good. And I like the idle poses, too. Just the tie. There aren't a lot of folks beating down this door to hire a disabled veteran with more brains than a professor's sandwich.
Are we open for new cases, or are you gonna spend all night napping?
What does the sign on the door say?
Right now, it says keep your snout out of my business, fucker, but I'm pretty sure I can have that cleaned off by closing.
Can't please everyone, can we? At least we got paid for that job.
and ended up with a door covered in what I can only assume is crap-colored paint.
Sounds like we're open then. Can I get a tea?
We're out of tea, and the petty cash box is empty. We do have a client, though.
Fuck. Dig around in your pockets until you find some coins and hand them across the scarred desk. It's everything I got. Send in the client and fetch me something to wake me up, please. Alex snatches the cash and walks back into the front room of the office. He comes back later with a nervous individual in tow. You wish you could say the kaiju Alex gently ushers to the cramped office fills you with confidence or a lucrative job offer, but they don't. They shuffle into the room, wings held tight against their body, a dozen tons of fur and muscle and strained nerves. They were scared. Couldn't blame them, though. Folks usually arrive at your door either terrified or furious, depending on what they need investigated. They glance around the room, possibly looking to escape or for some telltale indication that they are in the right place. You don't know what a private investigator's office is supposed to look like, but this probably isn't it. Please, take a seat. They look nervously at the stool as if only just noticing it and sit down, wings held tight against their body.
Thank you.
There's a long pause in which you hear Alex quietly slip out the front door. You know, it often helps to start conversation if we learn each other's names. I'll start. I'm Karibara. They're them if you don't mind. This is my office. It says so on the door, or it usually does. You can call me Detective.
I'm Maxora, Detective. Miss.
She's well spoken for a kaiju and wears enough gold to indicate a magpie-like tendency for the nicer things. It's a good start, Miss Maxora. Now, how can I be of assistance? Another long pause as she fidgets with her rings. No
Method acting.
You don't have to method act that one.
I do.
No, I mean like it just comes naturally to you. No doubt you like to discuss a matter of some delicacy, otherwise you wouldn't be in my office. She looks up and you see the fractured ice of her eyes, cold, beautiful, and afraid.
I need your help, Detective.
The words every private investigator loves to hear, the phrase somehow never growing old. I gathered that from the fact that you're sitting here in front of me.
Simply from my presence in this office, that level of reasoning was possible for you, Detective?
I don't understand where you're going with this. Is this a reference? We don't do reference humor here. We're above that shit. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go back to reading the Sherlock Holmes TMCR series of novels. How can I be of assistance? I'm not the usual first point of call for a kaiju in trouble. It's a police station just down the road. She looks down again, her claws clicking against each other as she rolls down her wings nervously.
Someone has some information about me that they shouldn't. Things I can't have get out to my family. That's why I can't go to the police.
Blackmail? She nods. And you can't just pay them off?
Not without asking my family for a lot of money, Detective, and they would want to know what it was for.
You nod back. Common enough story, one you've heard a dozen times before. No doubt an encounter with the wrong monster she doesn't want getting out. And can you tell me what they have on you? Something bad enough to get you in trouble with the family, with the police? She shakes her head vigorously, tears welling up in her eyes.
I can't tell you that, Detective. I've done things that I'm ashamed of. And the less you know, the less danger you're in.
You raise an eyebrow, an unusual addendum. The less I know, the harder it is for me to do my job, Miss Maxora, but I will respect your privacy. No extra charge. You scribble on your second last business card and slide it across the table.
How big is the Kaiju business card?
The Kaiju business card is probably the size of like an apartment building.
It's just a stone slab that weighs like 3 tons.
Yeah, A7. This is my retainer. I charge by the day, not the case. First day in advance. There may be expenses, especially since I'm going in without a lot of information. She picks up the card and glances at it and nods without hesitation.
I can tell you where the message said to go and who to talk to. Is that enough to start you off?
From the front room, you hear Alex return, his cane clicking against the stonework. It's a good start. Can you show me the message? It might give me something more to go on.
No, I mean, no, sorry. I don't have it with me.
Fine. You can leave the details with my assistant up front as well as the retainer. Anything you can tell me about them, about what they want. She stands, shaking her head and reaching for her bag.
The blackmail demand only included a name and a place, so that I could find them when I was ready to pay.
She leans across the desk, the light glinting on her jewelry and the cold blue of her eyes.
I would like this to be handled quietly, Detective. It would mean a lot to me, personally, if you could just make this all go away.
There's obviously more she isn't telling you, but you aren't being paid to pry into her reasons. I'll do my best, Miss Maxora, but I'm not a bodyguard nor a hired thug. If you want someone disappeared, I recommend the police station down the road. The rates are more than reasonable. Boom. Got him.
I'm sure you'll do just fine, Detective. And please, call me Max.
No. Got more than enough. We already got the person with the letter X in their name around here. Just get the one person maximum per game. Otherwise, it gets overused. Do you understand? You were doomed from this. Maybe I can call you Mac. How's that sound? Mac? Singular Max? That cool with you, Mac?
Not really.
Well, that's too bad, Mac. You were doomed from the start. Kaiju Noir, Chapter 1. Alex walks back into the room a few minutes later, mug in one hand and a slip of paper tucked behind an ear frill.
Well, she was quite the character.
Did she pay? He puts the cup neatly on the desk. The liquid inside is black as a lagoon at midnight and smells like molasses.
In cash. Nice, crisp, new bills all tucked up neatly in the cash box. By the bulge in her purse, there's plenty more in there. Can I get a new chair and claim it as a business expense? Mine's falling apart.
Only if it's one of those fancy ones. You know, the ones that are just essentially like a beanbag, but a little bit more sturdy so you have to sit upright. One of those fuckers. I always wanted something like that. I don't think it's ergonomic, but it's more comfortable on the tail, if you know what I mean. Literally the tail, like I don't know what else to put it. Why do we build chairs like that? Whose idea was it? Tempting. I wouldn't mind a new hat. Somehow keep shredding them.
You have horns, Kari. You aren't supposed to be wearing hats.
Yeah, and you have a ridiculous bod, and you should be wearing more than a tie.
No.
I know, but when's the last time you saw a detective movie without the PI wearing a hat?
Good point, but I get my chair first.
If I run out of hats before this case is over, so help me God, Alex, your chair will have a reckoning. Deal. If we can get a few days out of this case, I'll not only get you a new chair, but I'll pay you for the last 2 weeks. Alex shrugs and pulls the paper from his fin, placing it on the desktop.
Do what you can, Kari. We're in this together.
You deserve to get paid.
I get my pension. Not entirely helpless without you.
I've seen how much they care about vets. I wouldn't trust a hatchling to survive on that pension.
And yet I scrape by just fine. Anyway, here's the details on the messenger and hangout. Former's unknown to me, though the police might have something. Latter is a dive off the main strip, been there a few times.
How are the drinks?
Cheap and not entirely lethal.
Well, 1 out of 2 of those is good. You pick up the slip of paper and scan Alex's meticulous lettering. Laura Thrack, The Last Gulp, Crag Lane.
She really is playing this one close to the scales. I couldn't get anything out of her, not even a description. What the hell have you gotten us into?
Me? Who let her in the front door? A case, which is more than we had this morning, or yesterday, or last week, the week before that, or... What's that? Oh my god, how many cases do we even get around here? Alex leans against the doorway and taps his cane uncertainly. Anyone told you to look unnecessarily dapper with a cane?
Just don't go wasting all the money on the movies and hats.
God damn it, the hats are the only thing that make this worthwhile and you know it. You try not to laugh as you drink your tea.
So, what's the plan? Go scope out the place? Check with the cops? I know Carla Zora down the station owes us a favor after last time.
Let's check with Carla Zora. We got a favor to
Call in a favor, sure.
Gotta call in a favor. I guess I should go check with Carla Zora. If this Lorethrak character has any history, I'd rather know it before I confront him.
See if you can find out where they get their donuts from. The local place is terrible.
You have your priorities in check, Alex. That's why I keep you around. The only good thing about the station is the donuts and Carla. I'm pretty sure on the fence about her sometimes, too.
All cops are bastards, Kari. Carla Zora chose her path. She takes the title.
Maybe one day she'll learn better.
We can but hope.
Now, I want a donut. Wait. I want a bear claw. Wait. I want a donut, but one of those long donuts. You know the kind where they don't bother turning it into a cylinder? They just have it nice and long, and they kind of twist it a little bit, too. I want one of those. Find me one of those. No more. I don't want a pack of them. This isn't... we aren't changing our eating habits here. I just really want one. When you reach the police station, Carla Zora isn't in her office. The officer at the front desk tells you she's off working a case. Maybe you'll catch her later. No matter how many times you go through the station, you can't shake the urge to start throwing things. The look the desk sergeant gives you just makes that worse. One day I'm gonna see this place burn. Unable to find any neglected donut boxes, you decide to leave a message to say you called, that Carla still owes you that drink, and head off to the last gulp. Craig Lane feels old, even the city of monsters. A near-forgotten side street worn low from thousands of years of heavy footsteps. The last gulp is about what you'd expect from an ancient dive bar in this part of town. Rough stone brick, uneven windows, piles of rubble along the walls, and the smell of industrial waste and kaiju vomit. You don't like going into bars in the first place. Too many kaiju vying for space, too much noise, too few answers. The smell of the place alone is enough to make you turn away. As you approach the doorway, a bulging shape in the corner stands and extends an antlered head. Good evening. You touch your four horns in acknowledgement. They grunt back a sound more like heavy machinery than communication. Busy night. They shrug their shoulders and push open the door with their tail, leaving a black trail of ink. Not much of a talker, are you? Their eyes narrow and gesture to the door with their antlers. You get the point, and its ease passed into the bar. The interior of the bar is as crude as the exterior, showing its age as one of the city's oldest drink pits. Not despised, just mostly forgotten for the ages. The bar and tables are all stone slabs, probably hewn from the same quarry as the bricks that make up the rest of the building. It's easy to believe that the bar wasn't built but dug out from the surrounding stone. The bartender watches you enter with one head and television mounted above the bar with the other. A small crowd of kaiju sit around various tables on one size doesn't fit anyone's stools. A couple of them look up from their drinks, but most just keep drinking like this might be their last gulp after all. Trying to look like another worn-out monster after a hard night, you make your way to the bar. You want to be the bartender?
What'll it be, Slick?
You look around the limited drink selection. Alex was right. The thing that doesn't look like it was brewed in a refinery is cheap rot gut you could use to remove rust. Makes you glad you don't drink booze. Best to stick with a soda. Did you just spit in that cup to clean it?
Don't worry about it.
Can I get a cup that isn't that cup?
Maybe.
Are we ready to do the monster mash?
Oh, yeah.
Mash good. The purple can the bartender slides across to you is festooned with pictures of various movie monsters. Can't help yourself but sing part of the advertising jingle under your breath. They drink the mash. They drink the monster mash. 1984 fluid ounces. It even smells purple. How does it smell purple? Oh my god, I have synesthesia. You slide a couple of coins across the bar and sit on a stool. The bartender pushes back less change than you'd expect, but you don't comment.
You a cop?
You've broken from your quiet observations of the bar area, trying to figure out who could be the blackmailer just by appearance. In the movies, they would be hunched over in a corner, a hat over the eyes, looking shifty-like. But you're the only one wearing a hat, and everyone here is hunched. What?
Most folks come here to drink and don't give a damn about anyone else. you're scoping out the place. If you're a cop, tell me now, so I know who to call if you end up in the alley out back. But if you're thinking of robbing the place, I'll just tear you apart here and now. No hard feelings.
That happen often, huh? The bartender shrugs, their one head still not moving from the screen.
Not that you'd hear. Kaiju here mostly keep to themselves. So, cop or not?
Definitely not. You place your private investigator badge on the bar so only the bartender can see it. Guess you could say I'm freelance. Not that my name is Lance, but like, free. Can we just like forget that sentence happened? I'm just gonna move on now. The bartender looks affronted, both heads swiveling around to look you up and down with matching scowls.
An iron claw. Then you really won't be popular around here. Folks don't like nosy flat pads sticking their muzzle where it don't belong.
You ain't gotta worry about me. I'm only here to find someone. I'm not about to cuff or stomp any of your regulars.
Just don't cause trouble in here, got it? Stainra out the front does a good job at dealing with trouble. But I hate having to replace the furniture and clean the mess off the walls when they're done, so watch yourself.
No trouble here, just doing my job as quietly as I can. No stomping intended. The bartender nods and turns back to their show. What are you watching tonight?
Dunno, it's either one of those old human monster movies or a war documentary. Acting is terrible either way.
Who's winning? The head not watching the monitor spits into the sink.
Us, so it's probably just a movie.
Oh no. There goes Tokyo. Go Godzilla? No? Oh, you're gonna leave me hanging here. Alright. Their tone tells you everything you need to know. After working with Alex for years, it's become easy to spot those who came back from the war. You were there? They nod ahead.
Right near the end. Lied about my brood year, went out, barely came back. Did what I had to do to get a job here. Been working here ever since.
Not the worst place to end up, I suppose? They don't reply. You slowly work through your drink, getting a feel for the place. It's not as bad as you once thought, as you block out the smell.
The name's Rax, by the way, so who are you looking for?
Hey, Rax. What is it with everyone and the X's in their names? Can we make that just Rack? How would you feel about making that singular?
Rather negative.
All right, Rack, whatever you say, buddy. Well, I guess there are two of you. I guess you can be Rax then. Alex is going to be unhappy that we have to change his name. Alec is acceptable, isn't it? I'll see how he feels about it. Bartender is still watching the movie, which is now showing a giant kaiju wrecking a power plant that crumbles like cheap wood. Which it probably is. Someone named Lorathrak. You know him? Again, the non-committal shrug.
Maybe. Most folks don't deal in names here. Not real ones, at least.
You sigh and start searching for your wallet, knowing where this is going. Anything I can do to help you remember?
Depends. You any good?
What? Answering vague questions? I'm fucking great at it. Try me. Ask me another. Only vague questions. Come on, hit me with your best one.
What's the answer to this question?
It's a trick question.
That wasn't the answer to this question.
No, shit. One head laughs and the other head growls.
Wise ass. I'd watch that muzzle round here if you like your teeth. I mean, you any good as a detective, and you know it.
You give a variation of their non-committal shrug. I ended a few marriages and found my share of lost pets. Need something looked into? I pierced the top of another can with a pincer and handed it to you.
I got something for you. Not now, though. You got a card or something.
You hand over your last business card. I glance at it skeptically.
Oh, you're the one Alex works for.
Oh, you know Alex. So you understand the problem here.
Long story, don't ask. He comes in sometimes for a drink.
They pocket the card in their apron and nod to a table off to the back of the bar.
Laura's over there. You can't miss him.
The indicated table holds a single occupant, squat, spiky, and drinking like they're prepared to go on drinking forever.
One of my best and worst customers. Drinks all night, never tips, never says thanks. Some fucking gratitude wouldn't go amiss.
Ever spit in his drink? Both mouths grin widely.
Every fucking night. Tried to stiff me on the tab one night. Don't try to screw with the two-head. We don't forget and can spit twice as hard.
You pick up your drink and stand up from the bar. Remind me never to piss you off. Anyway, look me up when you got time. I'll help you out if I can. They nod and go back to watching the end of the movie, and you head towards the occupied table in the back. As you approach the back table, you catch the stink coming from Laura Thrack. Dank, musty, alcohol-ridden, the stench of a loner you're all too familiar with. The table before them is littered with empty cups, the bartender obviously not wanting to get any closer than they have to. Laura Thrack, eh? They look up, peering up at you over the top of their drink, eyes focusing in the poor light.
What's it to ya? Whatever you're selling, I don't want any.
You are great with the backup voice. This is great. You're doing wonderfully tonight. Thank you. It always looks like it's going to be us and someone else.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think this is good. Just looking for someone to have a chat. You look like you could use some company. Laura looks you up and down with a sneer before gazing back down at their drink.
I don't want nothing except to be left alone.
You pull out the stool opposite and sit down. That's too bad, Laura, because I'd like to talk.
Of course you fucking do. You a cop.
Everyone seems to be asking me that. Is it written on my face somewhere?
Yeah.
Do I have ask me if I'm a cop written on my face, Laura?
Yeah.
Is that... Maybe it's the hat. Shit, it's not the hat, is it? No, I am not a cop. Just someone in need of a few answers. Laura snarls, finishes their drink, slams the cup back on the table, and waves to the bartender.
What kind of questions?
The kind that have to do with Max Sora.
Oh? Never heard of him.
Never?
You got smoke in your ears? I don't know him.
Funny. She knows you. Says you're saying she owes you a whole lot of money. The bartender arrives, putting down a fresh cup of something that smells exceedingly flammable. You lean back a little. Laura picks up the cup, downs half of it in one swig, puts it back down. I wonder if it had a little something extra in it.
On the shorter side, curvy wings, little horn on top.
And that would be her.
Calls herself Maxora now, does she? What else did she tell you?
She said you were blackmailing her and said she wants you to leave her alone.
Did she show you a blackmail note or have any proof that I was doing it? Or what I was supposed to be blackmailing her about?
No, she didn't, but you took the case anyway because she looked scared and had the money. Laura grins a filthy, broken-toothed grin.
Thought so. She wanted you to come down here, make some trouble for me, so I'd leave her alone. Right. Or maybe she wanted you to sort me out good and proper in the alleyway, all quiet-like.
Something like that. They nod and slug back the rest of their drink.
Thought so. You here as her hired muscle?
No, private detective.
Even worse, then. Listen, flat pad, and listen good. That dame ain't getting blackmailed. Whatever she's mixed up in, I ain't the one causing her grief.
Then why has she sent me after you, then?
Now you're asking the right questions. When I was working with her, she was going by Caesarius.
Laura taps the empty cup with a claw. You get the hint and signal the bartender.
Doesn't that seem like something you should be asking her about? She's your client,
I
after
literally
all.
took this job like 30 minutes ago, dude. You're a... Listen, buddy, you are moving at a mile a minute here. If you considered a job as a PI, got a good head for questions about you.
Go home, detective, or go talk to Caesarius, Maxora, whatever she's calling herself now. Just leave me to my drinking.
He looks down at the stained tabletop, its surface puddled with rainbow slick residue.
Add a word of advice, detective. Watch yourself around her. She may look sweet, but those claws are sharp.
Getting up from the table, you nod to Rax and make your way out into the ever night. Stay in her eyes you as you uncaringly as you emerge from the bar. You tip your head as much as the horns allow and move into the street. So, Detective Karabara, your first night on the case and you found out what? I don't know why I'm telling this to you, bouncer, but, you know, you seem like you're good company. Also impressively fit. Why is every monster in this town so damn fit? Chiseled out of stone, all of it. So what have we learned?
I don't know. I'm not so sure I trust either of them personally.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, because like I get like being like, hey, I want you to handle this with discretion, but if that was the case, we didn't even get enough information from her to be like, okay, to know the shape of what we were meant to do. We essentially just took a whole lot of money and just said, okay, go here, talk to this person. And we're like, okay, fine, that's enough money that I'll just do that then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's not like I immediately trust Laura Thrak.
Mm-hmm.
I say we can't trust either of them.
Fair enough.
Dames, Laura Thrax, can't trust them. Maxora has told you little to nothing about the case despite eagerly retaining your services. Laura Thrak hasn't told you anything except that Maxora is hiding something, obviously not wanting to give anything away. All he knows is that there's more going on here than simple blackmail, and you're still on the case. Good thing you're being paid by the day. I can feel your bed calling to you. Best to call it a night. Chapter 2. Hell yeah. You arrive at the Hotel Maxora listed as her place of residence after filling Alex in on the previous night's encounters.
So, what's the plan? Just go in there and demand the truth from Miss Maxora, tough cop style?
I couldn't tough cop if someone was paying me to. I failed drama class. All those drama checks, you know how hard it is? The building is old, but well-maintained. Rough, clean stone brick and an air of faded majesty in a near-empty area of the city. At the front desk, you ask to ring up Miss Maxora's room and let her know that you've arrived. Time passes. Tucked into a corner of the room is a drink vending machine. You drop a coin in the slot and twist the knob. The machine grinds for a moment, then drops your coin into the return slot. It is out of monster mash.
It's always empty. I don't think it's ever been refilled.
If I was a spiteful kind of kaiju, I'd hope something nasty happens to whoever's supposed to keep these things filled.
Are you that kind of kaiju?
I don't know. Ask me again in 10 minutes when I'm really thirsty.
That says a lot about you, detective.
You want to know what else says a lot about me? My fucking Myers-Briggs profile. And you don't see me putting stock in that now, do you? Maxora is stating more confidently than you'd seen in the office. Gone is the almost theatrical fragility of the night before. There's not that much of me to know. It's a pleasure to see you again, Miss Maxora.
Please, detective, I asked you to call me Max. No need for formalities here.
As you wish, Max. You're paying, after all. On that note, there's some things I'd like to discuss with you in privet. Is there somewhere we can talk? Why do we say privacy, but not privet?
Yeah, huh?
Where do you fall on this? Do you say private? Like privacy? Private? Privacy?
Yeah, it rhymes with primate.
Oh, that makes sense now. All right. Well, there's something I'd like to discuss with you in private. Is there somewhere we can talk? She motions to a couple of ancient lounge chairs in the corner.
I'm one of the only residents staying in the hotel, and the clerk at the front desk is hard of hearing, so we should be able to talk here.
As you wish. Yeah, more detective shows need to take place in nearly abandoned hotels. You ever watch Angel? Great show. Great scenery. Really underrated. Kind of got overshadowed by Buffy. Prepare if you take your seats. The surface world design of them meaning you have to find comfortable place for your tail. Again, why did we just copy this after the surf? Why? They're like 1/100th the size of us in scale. Obviously, their furniture isn't going to work for us. Oh. Been staying here long?
Long enough. It's a decent place. Clean, quiet, out of the way. Sometimes you don't need anything fancy.
I'm just surprised you aren't staying with your family. Do they live in the city?
Are you investigating me now, detective?
Just call it professional curiosity. Us PIs get used to asking lots of questions.
My family is always busy. As such, things can get a little hectic from time to time, so I come here once in a while for some peace and quiet. Any other questions you'd like to ask, Detective, or shall we get back to business?
Confront her with the, or sometimes you have to be subtle.
I feel like we should be subtle. I feel like if we confront her, we're going to get less out of her than if we...
Exactly, and also because I can think of plenty of damn good reasons for someone to have a different name now.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, Business, of course. Encountered Laura Thrack last night. Seemed a bit unsettled. And I wonder if you know anything more about him.
Not much, Detective. I've only met him once, and that was when he gave me the blackmail demand.
Demand, of course. You wouldn't have him with you now, would you? She looks suddenly taken aback.
What do you mean?
The demand. I'm assuming he gave you a note or something. Otherwise, how would you know how much and who to give it to? Sitting in silence, it's easy to see the different emotions flickering across her face. Why aren't you telling me, Miss Maxora? In the distance, you hear the clerk handing out keys to a resident, but the area around you remains in tense silence. I think it's about time you told me the truth, Maxora. Or should I call you Sazorius? She looks up, startled.
He told you that name, huh?
You nod. Told me a lot of things, including that you've not been honest with me. This whole case is a ruse. And if there's one thing I don't like, it's a ruse. The runaround. The whole rigmarole. I don't have any other ones.
How do you feel about bits?
Bit. Love it.
I see.
Spend your bits on twitch.tv. Wait, we don't have a Twitch. Spend your bits at twitch.tv/wifecitygaming. They deserve it. They're good people. I don't like being lied to, and I don't like not knowing what to call you.
Keep calling me Max, Detective. I don't use that other name anymore.
I guess you should just tell me the truth now, shouldn't you?
It's come to the truth already, has it, Detective?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what else you expected to happen here. You hired me to go after someone, knowing full well I didn't have enough information to do anything about it. And then when I came back and asked for more information, you immediately folded. What was your end game here?
Okay, but consider, my tummy fur looks like an upvote.
Oh, you make a very good point. One updoot. I could always just go tell Laura where to find you if you'd prefer.
I really wish that damn vending machine was working. I need a drink.
We could go somewhere if you like. She shakes her head.
Not in this part of the city, all too public. Could you grab me some water, though? There should be a jug on the counter.
You stand, walk to the front desk, fill a couple of cups from the pitcher, nod to the clerk, and return to Maxora, putting them on the table between you.
Thank you, Detective. Now, no doubt Laura told you more than just that name, correct?
You nod again.
He told you we've some history between us.
That you work together, yeah.
What else did he tell you?
What should he have told me, Max?
Well, it's true that we worked together. Laura and I were entrusted with the task of collecting a certain item. An artifact of considerable value that carried with it considerable risk.
Like the Ark of the Covenant? Something like that? And what item is that valuable, huh? Is it Exodia? Did you get
Bitcoin?
I'm out. Fuck you. Fuck this entire case. Maxora picks up a glass and sips from it.
Tell me, Detective, have you ever heard of the Crimson Old One?
Oh, the Crimson Old One, or COO for short. No, I've never heard of him. The what?
The Crimson Old One, an idol carved from a single giant ruby, dug from the cavern that surrounds New Monstropolis by the first Kaiju.
Not gonna lie, that looks like something I'd find on an adult website.
It is said that the light that refracted from the ruby was enough to illuminate the world below, and that the first Kaiju War was waged over who would claim it, millennia before the humans climbed down from their trees. It's also said that those who would possess the Crimson Old One would reign over our kind until the end of days.
Until the end of days? Like Wednesday? But we live in a blatantly corrupt oligarchy. I can't see the big tusks up at City Hall giving up their seats to someone lugging a shiny rock around the city.
You're right. Trying that would probably land you at the bottom of the lake wearing a stone overcoat.
My God, there's a lake down here? We got everything down here. So why all the excitement over a shiny pebble?
Firstly, the idol represents immense spiritual significance for many kaiju in this city.
Uh-huh.
Second, it has historic value dating back hundreds of millennia.
Uh-huh.
And finally, it's a giant ruby. Do you have any idea what that's worth to the right collector?
And what do you have to do with the rock?
Well, I was supposed to be getting the idol into the city to sell on.
Into the city? You mean it's been out there on the surface, huh?
Aren't as thick as you look, detective, are you?
Do I look thick? Is that written? Is that also the hat? Gah.
No, it's written on your face as well.
I just feel like I got an entire novel written there. Then again, I guess we are big enough for that. You should see me solve a crossword puzzle.
The statue has been traded, stolen, sold, and killed for in the human world for thousands of years. I doubt they even know how long for or where it originated.
Wait, if it's something that we can reasonably handle, then isn't it and people in the human world were fighting over it? What's the scale of this thing? You get, right? Like, if humans could reasonably fight over it and possess it, right? It can't be that big. But it's got to be big enough that we care about it. So how did you track it down, then?
Now that's something I don't know. The plan was Lauren would track it down, I'd organize to get it past the gates, another colleague would make the sale to a collector, and we'd split the loot.
So, what happened?
I don't know. The idol was supposed to pass to me from my contact at the gate. Only, when I got there, I heard that he'd had an accident and the idol was missing.
One of those accidents where the folks just up and die?
Exactly that kind.
You pick up your cup and take a drink. So why'd you up and run, then?
I'd been paid an awful lot of money to get the idol into the city, most of which had gone toward bribes, storage, and my contacts in the human world. None of whom was prepared to work with a kaiju for cheap. If Laura thought I'd betrayed them, they would be after me. I had to make the first move.
So what do you plan to do now? Just wait here until it all blows over?
No, detective. I plan to find out where that damn statue is and finish this deal so I can get on with my life.
So, no blackmail case then?
No, never was.
So then, forgive me for saying this. What was the fucking point? Come on now. Fine. Then my work is done on that matter. I'll let my assistant know and he can up you a letter of completion and an invoice for services rendered.
I'm sorry we couldn't make this work, and I am sorry about the lies.
What? Honestly, what did you expect to come out of this?
Is that everything, detective?
Not quite, Max. Now you and I need to discuss another matter.
What other matter? You just closed the case.
You take another sip and say the words that'll land you in more trouble than you could imagine. The matter of you hiring me to find that statue. She looks up startled.
You work for me, considering everything?
I see it like this, Miss Maxora. Either you're lying to me again, in which case you'll keep paying me up until the point we both become too bored to carry on with the charade.
Or
you're telling me the truth about being on the hunt for a missing cultural treasure of unmeasurable value that could make everyone involved filthy rich. In which case, I want in. Also, I haven't had an interesting case in months, and this sounds like it could be fun, honestly. Kind of want to get my Nathan Drake on, if you know what I mean. Just without kind of like... Just okay, hold on, actually. I should have asked this up front. You said it's like a stolen idol, right? It's not the kind of thing where, like, white people go stealing it from other people's cultures, right?
I mean, to be fair, it was ours first.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll try not to look too hard into it.
It's really like re-stealing it.
Okay, well, now I just don't know how to feel about any of this. Maxora sits with the cup and claw, no doubt thinking about ways to take control of the situation.
Okay, detective, what are your terms?
Gristly. Adjective. It's my favorite term right there. 2 weeks retainer in advance. This is going to eat up all my time, and I have an assistant to keep fed. Consider it insurance in case any more unforeseen accidents.
Oh, don't you trust me, detective? Don't you like me?
You wasted my time. No, I like you plenty, Max, but I don't trust you any more than I do most folks in this city. Maybe even less, given the circumstances. When's the last time you met a trustworthy person with an updoot on their chest?
That's fair enough. You've earned the right to be mistrustful of me.
Yeah. And if I say if this idle story is true, then I want 10% of the sale price. I don't care how you get that. Whatever it's from your share of the split or with the others, call it a finder's fee. She looks directly into your eyes for a moment, sizing you up for haggling, but you don't waver.
We have a deal, Detective. I don't have the money on me right now for your retainer, but I'll have it sent to your office.
As you finish your water, the edges of the room start to spin. Your heart starts racing and Max slips in and out of focus. Fuck, she drugged the drink.
In all honesty, I'm sorry about this, Kari. I didn't know if I could trust you. Not with my life on the line. Find the statue and you'll get everything that's coming to you. Start with Laura, Detective. I'll be in touch.
When you say everything that's coming to me, you make it sound like I deserve something else. Like, makes it sound like you get what's coming to you, right? Like it's... like, you see how that could be misunderstood, right? She leans in close and you can feel her icy breath on your ear.
Follow the trail of the Crimson One.
The gaping maw of oblivion swallows you whole. Chapter 3. This time it's the third chapter. Waking with a start, you see the weary smile of the hotel clerk as they are gently shaking you.
Miss Maxora said you needed some rest and not to wake you until she left. She didn't say you were such a heavy sleeper.
You rub the blurriness out of your eyes and look around, the clock at the corner showing 3 hours passed since you arrived. Where's Miss Maxora now?
She checked out about an hour ago, didn't leave a forwarding address. Never stays for long, but I'm always happy to see her.
They smile and help you stand.
She left a card for you, just a moment.
They shuffle over to the desk and return, handing over a rectangle of a white card with a crudely drawn picture of a squat creature in red ink.
Always drawing that little fellow. I find a couple of these little cards in her room whenever I clean up. A mascot or cartoon character, maybe?
Yeah, it's fucking Sanrio. Something like that. You turn the card over to see the words "Find it, then find me, Max," written on the back. What else do you know about Miss Maxora? We give a happy shrug and shamble behind their polished stone slab of a reception desk.
Not a lot. At this hotel, we respect our residents' privacy and make it a point not to ask personal questions.
Now hold up on there for just one moment. You done said residents' privacy, not privacy. Like it's supposed to rhyme with primate. That's what I was told, anyway. Sorry, I just thought we'd want to know so we can all be on the same level here.
But she's clean, keeps to herself, and tips well. All I could ask for in a resident.
You flick the clerk coin. You run a nice hotel. If Miss Maxora returns, please tell her I'll be in touch. They nod appreciatively, and you walk out into the city. Back in your office, Alex is standing behind his desk looking furtive. You look upset. What happened?
Well, I've been practicing acting furtive, and I'm not quite sure I've got it yet. How did I do?
I'd say you're pretty good. It's not as furry as I thought it would be, though. You need a little bit more fur to be furtive.
I see. I'll work on that.
Yeah.
In any case.
Also, how would you feel about Alec?
How about no?
Sure I can't convince you on this one.
Quite. If we suddenly received a rather large sum of money through the mail slot, what would you say?
I'd ask when we got a mail slot. How can they keep describing doors with a mail slot when they clearly don't have mail slots in them? How are they looking through the mail slot when there isn't a mail slot in the door? I don't understand it, Alex. It's been on my mind for a while now.
Kari?
Okay, fine. I'll stop playing visual novels. Did such a thing happen?
I'm not saying anything without a lawyer.
You don't want a lawyer this time of night. They give you indigestion. Boom, got him. We still doing lawyer jokes? No? I thought it was funny. Was this hypothetical sum of money enough to cover 2 weeks of work? He narrows his eyes.
2.5. I gather from your expression it was from Miss Maxora. What do you want me to do with it?
Burn it in a fucking bonfire. No, I want you to cash it, you... You laugh and lean against the doorframe. Go get yourself that new chair, Alex. Our Miss Maxora turned out to be a bigger client than we expected. Fill the tea, kitty, too. Oh, if there's anything left, take what I owe you in back pay.
Are you sure? You didn't do anything illegal, did you? Like, foolish illegal?
Nah, not yet, but I might wind up transporting contraband across, country lines, so...
I see.
I mean, meh. I can live with myself. Not yet, but I may have to, and I want to make sure you and I are square.
Whatever you say, Kari, I appreciate it. What did happen at the hotel? You were gone for hours.
You tell Alex the full story. Lore, the Crimson Old One, the tranquilizer in your drink. He nods along quietly without interrupting.
That's a pretty fucked up situation. Not sure if I feel comfortable taking a case from someone who'd do that. Are you going to be okay?
I'll be just fine. A little groggy, though. Should be paying double for that little stunt, though.
Do you think she's telling the truth? She did drug you after all.
She isn't. She's willing to pay a lot to keep me around on the back of a lie.
And if she's being honest.
Highly doubtful. But in some mystery novel world where she is telling the truth, we get to track down an artifact of wealth beyond imagining and make a bucket of cash in the process.
If you don't get killed while you're out there.
Oh, Lord can only hope. What makes you think I'll get knocked off?
Do you remember what happens to anyone who gets their paws on the treasure in those movies you're so fond of? Bang. One in the back in a dark alleyway somewhere. It's a damn massive ruby,
One
Kari.
One what? One what in the back of an alley somewhere? I kind of like alleys. I've been known to get one in an alley before. If we're talking about the same thing I think we're talking about.
I'm not
and
so sure
my
we
expression,
are.
Your expression told me that I'm right on.
It's a damn massive ruby, Kari. Do you really think there aren't those out there already dying for it?
All right, accidents. Got any advice for me to avoid ending up like that?
Aside from don't get killed,
Meh.
keep your eyes open and your snout out of the wrong places.
I don't have a snout. Well, I do, but that's not your business. Keen insight as ever. Well, I'm gonna go have a nap in my office. Still feeling a bit woozy.
You look it. That must have been one hell of a drink. Then what?
Then, I'll go have a chat with Lorathrak again. He might have a thread I can pull.
How hard do you intend to pull?
Hard enough that he answers my damned questions. Wake me in an hour. When you get back to the last gulp, Rax is the only one there, sitting at the bar, a can in each hand, watching the Kaiju Wrestling League on television. You take a seat beside him and grab a handful of bar snacks. One head looks up at you briefly and returns to the screen.
You know what I love about Kaiju League? No drama like in the human fights.
Turning to watch the screen, you see two powerfully built monsters tearing at each other with claw, tooth, and nail. To be fair, to the humans, they don't heal like most of us do. Squishy and soft. They have to make more of a show out of it. Rax laughs into one of his beers.
True enough, they don't taste too bad either.
Wait, you've had one?
Of course.
Isn't that like a little weird? Nah. No, I'm actually okay with it. I thought I was going to be not okay with it, and then I thought about it for a little bit, and it turns out I'm okay with it. Glad we came out of here. I don't know, I've never been outside the city. I like it down here. What are they like, humans?
Crunchy.
He looks down in quiet thought for a moment.
As bad as us, really. There's just more of them, and they don't know when to quit. If you want to meet one, go head down to the political district. I hear there's a few at the embassy.
No thanks, I'd be worried I'd step on them. I'll stick to seeing them in the films. He laughs and drinks out of both cans. I don't know why I laughed, or you laughing, I'm sorry. It's gotta feel weird.
No, don't worry about it.
Nah.
They squish pretty good, too. They never show that in the movies. Heck of a mess to clean off later, though.
On the screen, one of the wrestlers roars in victory while what's left of their opponent is dragged from the pit. That was brutal.
Tame as far as this stuff goes. No one dies in the KWL. Union rules. Maimed is fine, but you come out breathing. Broodmom told me in the old days, if you went into the pit, you came out a winner or in bits. She was one of the winners.
Good old unions. Can't imagine how screwed the city would be without them.
Even with the corruption, I'd rather them running things. You want a drink? Got some time before we open up.
Give me a monster mash.
Don't want anything stronger?
No thanks, I don't drink booze. It makes me feel like shit. Also, I don't think you got that much behind that bar that's less than 160 proof. Any of that gets near me and I'm likely to burn the place down.
Fair enough. Folks here like to get drunk in a hurry. Them that can metabolize alcohol anyway. Can't blame them.
He reaches over the bar, grabs you a can, and goes back to watching the show. Looks like a highlight reel.
You back for another round in the ring with Lore?
Yeah, I got some follow-up questions for him. Maybe a swear word or two.
He'll be here soon enough. He may be a mound of kaiju crap, but he's punctual with his drinking.
You watch the drink and what you watch the drink. I got my eye on you, drink. No funny moves now. What? It's fizzling. Is that a funny move? Rax, should I take that as like a sign of aggression? Drink and watch the game. You could never get into the league fights. The city is violent enough without making a sport of it. I don't think we know about it. Want to ask about Alex?
Sure.
Find out what Alex is. Oh my god, we can see their apron.
Huh?
Ah, that's cute. How do you know Alex? You two seem to have a bit of a history.
You could say that. Not sure how much I can talk about. He and I were in the same attack wave during the war. He fought in the harbors, me in the cities. What a fucking mess that was. Not a lot of us left who remember those final days. I'm glad Alex made it back. He's a good kid. Shouldn't have been out there in the first place.
He doesn't talk about it much. Can never tell if he wants to talk or just wants to forget.
Both, probably. Shit like that just doesn't go away.
He sighs and sags a little.
Sorry, talking's tough. Bartenders listen, we don't talk a lot. Comes with the territory.
I appreciate you telling me. Rax sets down both empty cans and turns ahead to you.
Did you mean it when you said you were a good detective?
No, I'm actually a shit-ass detective. I never said I was good, but I don't know anyone better. Might be that I'm the only one around. Is that good enough?
It'll do. You said you're on a case. Would you have a problem with taking on a second?
As long as they don't conflict, I got some flexibility. What is the case?
I need you to find my sister.
Doesn't seem like a difficult job. Just stick up a few missing kaiju flyers. Why ask me?
Because it's not that simple, detective. Alex says you're good at the delicate stuff, if you could catch my drift, and I trust him. I also don't trust the cops, for obvious reasons. When I lost contact with her, we were both very different kaiju.
We all change, Rax.
Detective.
Call me Carrie.
Carrie, sorry I'm not used to talking about this stuff, and this doesn't leave this room.
He takes a deep breath, something two heads are able to do particularly well.
When I shipped out, she was just starting her transition. Hadn't even chosen her name yet.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, oh fuck. I left and didn't get to tell her I loved her before they herded us out the gates to fight.
Fuck, that's rough. Taking two more cans from behind the bar, he opens them in the teeth of one jaw.
Damn rough. So, I don't have a name. Not one she'd go by now. I don't know what she looks like, and I don't know where to start.
You both drink in silence for a few minutes. I'll take the case. One is a bit close to home, so I'll do it, no charge.
I ain't gonna ask you to do this for nothing.
Don't sweat it, my other case is paying me more than enough to cover my time. Want to pay me, then set up with the tab at the bar. If I find her, scrub the tab. If I don't, I'll settle it next week. He scowls at the compromise, typical kaiju stubbornness.
You think you can find her that fast? I've been looking for years.
Listen, there's like a 60% chance that she asked me to do the other case, so... like, conservation of dramatis persona, you understand? You'll be amazed what I can do when I start poking around. So what do you have that I can work with? I can't exactly just go around the city sticking up wanted signs for trans kaiju that were separated from their family during the war. I need Alex at the door just to hold back the queue.
Damn humans, you know, we didn't have to think about gender bullshit till they came around. We were just monsters.
I don't know. I'm not much for gender myself, but to people who it means something to, you know, it means really. I don't want to take that away from it. It's important, you know. Tell me about it. One of all the social construct crap we had to pick up from them, that has to be the weirdest.
Capitalism was a pretty bad idea, too.
Yeah, why did we do that one? Gender, I get it. Like, it's kind of cool, right? Like, like some days, most days it's weird, but then some days you're like, oh, this is kind of cool, actually. I don't think I've ever felt that way about capitalism.
Anyway, I don't have much to go on. If I did, I'd have found her by now. But if you find her, please give her this.
He hands over a carved green stone on a strand of scale hide.
She'll know what it means.
Not much to go on. No name, no description, just the necklace.
Now you know how I feel.
More than you know, Rax. The television program finishes, and you're glad you can't hear the obnoxious advertisements over the bar's music.
It's about time folks will start lumbering in. I should get to work.
He throws down both cans, throws them into the bin along with your empty drink, and stomps around behind the bar. What about your family?
We don't have much. Not what you'd call real family. You know how it goes.
All too well. I'll have a talk to Alex and we'll see what we can think up. He's a smart one in his joint.
What do you do then?
I'll ask irritating questions and look good in a hat. Rax nods and starts... yeah, I guess you do look good in a hat. Rax nods and starts serving the little slow trickle of customers coming up for drinks. About 20 minutes later, Laura stomps through the door and heads towards his regular table.
There's your boy. Please refrain from hitting him with a chair without letting me know.
He is not my boy. Dude, never.
So I can get a good view.
Will do. Can you give me the usual? Can you give me his usual? Rax pours out a cup of something smelling like industrial solvent, one head looking ready to spit. Thinking better of it, and hands it over.
Good luck, Slick.
You walk across the bar to Laura's table and place the cup in front of him. Hey, Lauren, surprised seeing you here. Thought I'd be thirsty, so I brought you a drink.
What's up? It's your boy, Laura Thrax.
No, you're not my boy. Why does everyone... Why do you think you're my boy?
What you want, Flat Paw? Can't you leave me in peace?
Oh my god. Are you a streamer? Oh god. Dios mío. Have you considered that I just like annoying you, Laura? Maybe me sitting here pissing you off gives my life some kind of joy to usually relax.
You're lucky I like drinking here more than I like the idea of biting your face off. Though I'd pay to see you thrown out of here.
Good thing you're not paying then, isn't it? Now drink your damn sludge.
What are you being paid for then? I already told you I ain't blackmailing anyone. No one you know anyway. Go talk to the dame and leave me the hell alone.
Oh, I did talk to her. Had a good long talk before she sent me some knockout drops. Show me how you two work together and how you're looking for a certain object.
And you trust a dame who drug your drink? Not a bright one, are you?
Laura sniffs at the putrid liquid in their cup, downs most in one gulp, and coughs wretchedly. Drink slower. That crap can't be good for you.
Shut it, Flat Paw. Did she tell you where it is?
Can I unshut it long enough to tell you? She didn't have it. Says her courier died before they could make the handover. Says she hired me to find it.
Hired you with our money?
Polite monster never asks.
I bet. Well, if she's got her claws and cash on you, she must still want to find the idol. Maybe the dame didn't cheat us after all.
Can't tell you that for sure, Laura. Contrary to what you think, I tend not to trust Kaiju who drug me.
That's a good instinct. So, what's the plan, Flat Paw? How do you plan to find our property?
All right, hold on. Explain this to me. Flat Paw? It's got a lot of ridges. I don't know. The same way I'm doing such a good job annoying you, by asking a lot of questions very determinedly.
You're good at that, at least.
Thank you. I make sure to practice in the mirror every morning. So sometimes I ask myself questions so abrasive even I shock myself.
I would believe that. You seem like the sort of kaiju that could piss off a stone wall.
So tell me, Laura, how many kaiju know about the idol, aside from you, Maxora, and I?
Why do you want to know?
I want to get paid, or you've been screwed. I don't know the subtext behind this one. I want to get paid, though. Feels like good enough, right?
Yeah.
So I want to get paid. I got a hungry assistant and a parasitic demon for our landlord. Asking you who the hell knew about the deal might help that situation.
How'd you figure that?
Because you're all still around. Because if Maxora had stolen the goods, she'd be out on her wings to cash in. If you'd nabbed it, you wouldn't be in this hole getting wasted on what I can only guess is industrial solvent. If your other partner had it, they would have paid you off by now. He looks into the dregs of his cup and swirls it around.
You got me there. There's someone else involved, our backer.
I figured you weren't the brains behind all this. Who are they?
Can't tell you. They like their privacy. Can't exactly...
well, it's actually privacy.
Sure, whatever.
Rhymes with primate.
Can't exactly blame them, considering the trouble that rock has caused.
A rock worth several fortunes, huh?
Fortunes aren't worth shit when you're dead. Ain't a lot of us get to come back after we take the fall.
Still, someone has to have known about the deal. Max is too personally invested to let something like all this go tail up.
You put too much faith in that dame.
In this city, you gotta put your faith in something. I put mine in money, which she's paying me a reasonable amount of.
And if I could get you more than she's paid, a lot more.
What would I do with it? I already have a nice coat. If I help find the rock, I'll have enough to never have to worry about the rent ever again. If I don't find it, at least I have enough to get myself a new hat. These things aren't cheap, you know. Besides, I have a rule. No conflicting cases. My assistant would never let me hear the end of it. He traces some spilled liquid over the tabletop with a claw, its surface rainbow-hued in the low light.
Then what's your plan? Start turning over rocks until you find a red one?
Better than that. You get me a meeting with whomever it is backing the scavenger hunt. Too many questions, and I need a few of them answered.
I'll try. Can't promise they'll talk to you.
Tell them if they want their shiny pebble, they will talk to me. The longer they wait, the harder it will be to get the thing back. You write down your office address on a stained napkin. When you arrange the time, here's my address. Business hours only, please. Laura skewers the napkin onto a leg spine and finishes his drink.
Thanks for the drink, detective.
Thanks for the chat, Laura. You've been charming as always. I'll see you when I see you. On the way out, you tip your hat to Rax and head back to the office. Hopefully Alex hasn't headed home yet. You have a lot to catch him up on. Chapter 4. Hell yeah, we are making progress. This game is so cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. Our patrons have good taste.
So now we have 2 cases. What the hell were you thinking? Find a lump of rock that might not even exist and track down someone without even a name or appearance to go off.
Right, and I get like the reluctance, but I mean, like even just like one pre-transition photo would help us out here, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm good. I can be classy about it, but like, come on, something,
Wait,
right?
do they make kaiju-sized photographs?
Oh my God, do they make kaiju-sized photograph? Alex, do they make kaiju-sized photographs?
I'm not sure.
Shit, I didn't know that.
This is why I don't let you go out to bars anymore. You always come back with the worst cases.
Kind of impressive since I don't even drink, right? Don't blame me. For some reason, kaiju keep telling me their problems, expecting me to solve them. Think I was a private detective or something.
What happened this week, Kari? Everything was so quiet. How did we end up in a mystery novel?
I don't know, man. It's all these visual novels I've been playing. Karmic buildup? Maybe the universe just decided to start throwing rocks. At least one of the rocks is worth a great big pile of cash.
Speaking of cash, why didn't you ask for payment on Rax's case? He's good for it.
You look at Alex over your tea. You and I have been in similar situations. Remember how shit things got when you came out, and I didn't fare much better. Couldn't stick a price tag on this kid getting a little happiness back after all he's been through. He looks down into his mug, bubbles back at him.
Fair. It's not like we need the money right now.
Right, we can afford to do a little pro bono for a barkeep in need. Pair of you drink in silence for a while.
So, what the heck do we do? We haven't got any leads on either case.
Pulling the pendant from your coat, you hand it over. Alex puts down his mug and examines it closely.
This the only lead Rax has?
You nod. No clue what it could mean. Probably just some family thing. Maybe it gives you +2. Alex holds the stone closer to each eye in turn.
I've seen this somewhere. This pattern here.
Excellent. He holds out the stone and it indicates to a pattern of swirls that on a close examination look like eyes curled in on themselves. Seriously? Can you remember where? Pausing to look at it again, he shakes his head.
No, it was brief. Only for a moment.
Try to remember. I don't care if it was graffiti on the side of a building or something you saw in a movie. Anything will help right now.
And the other case?
We wait for a message from Lore. If I can't meet the bankroller, we don't know all the actors in this little play. I don't like being left out cold in the middle of a case, even if I'm bundled up in cash.
And what if he doesn't call?
Then we go door to door asking if anyone has seen a giant ruby in their basement.
If you had a giant ruby in your basement, would you own up if someone came looking?
I didn't say it was a good plan, but it's better than sitting on my tail waiting for the idol to knock on the front door. The front door shakes under a tremendous knocking. Holy shit, did that just work? Oh my god. It'd be really sad if it started raining cash in the office. No, it's alright, Alex. You can put it down. It doesn't work if you're doing it. Appreciate the thought, though.
Quick, say something about us getting $1 million.
Oh, I love it when I'm sharing the brain cell. It's not like someone knocking at the door waiting to give us $1 million. The thumping repeats louder. Alex opens the door, and Detective Inspector Carl Lazora walks in. She doesn't look happy, nor does she carry anything resembling either a statue or a large amount of money. Detective Inspector Carl Lazora, you're looking positively brutalist tonight. She fixes you with the practiced scowl you've come to know and love.
I see you're still pretending to smoke those human cigarettes, Kari. You aren't fooling anyone you know.
I think it makes me look dashing. And to what do we owe the pleasure of your company?
This isn't a social call.
Is it ever?
That time in the red light district?
I was investigating for a divorce hearing. You served me with a cease and desist notice.
And wasn't that fun and social?
I had to go to the courthouse to get it lifted, and that was not fun. Alex stands in the corner, grinning widely. So what's the buzz? Tell me, what's happening? Come to grill me for walking on the wrong side of the footpath?
Do you know someone called Laura Thrack?
Ah, Lauren! You got a sinking feeling in the pits of your stomachs. Can you describe him?
Short, spiky, reeks of industrial waste.
I might know him. Why?
Because he was found dead an hour ago. The boys just dragged him out of the lake.
Oh, shit. Shit. And you come to interrogate me about it because...
Because he was holding an envelope with your name on it. Some of us in the force consider that sort of thing to be a little suspicious.
Well, that's your first problem right there. You can't go looking at every single piece of information someone's holding on their dead body. Come on. If I was holding a Magic the Gathering trading card in my hand when I died, you wouldn't go knocking on the door of Richard Garfield, PhD, now would you? Cops think everything is suspicious. If you saw someone who wasn't a cop eating a donut, you start questioning them about where they got it. Also, where do you get your donuts? Can I have the note?
It's evidence. Are you going to tell me what case you're working on?
Which one? I'm on a couple right now.
The one involving the stiff on its way to the morgue.
Personal confidentiality. Professional confidentiality, I'm afraid. I saw Lord at the last gulp yesterday, and he was fine as far as I could tell. On his way to getting drunk, or drunker, but very much alive.
Anyone able to corroborate that?
Rax down at the gulp, he and I were talking about a separate case, missing kaiju.
Why didn't he come down to the station if it's just a missing kaiju?
It's kind of a sensitive missing kaiju case. I'd rather not draw you a picture, detective. The pair of you stare at each other for a long minute in silence. Carla Zora breaks first and hands you a still damp envelope with the seal already torn. Don't you know it's illegal to tamper with the post?
We don't have a postal system, Kari, and this is evidence.
I know, I just always wanted to say that. Come on now. Like, let me have this, please? No? The paper inside the envelope is mostly dry, and on it you can read a scrawled address in an upmarket district and a time later tonight.
Gonna tell me about that. It's cryptic even for you.
You hand the letter to Alex. Contact on another case. Anything special?
Nothing special. Someone we just had to fish out of the wharf has a letter addressed to you clutched in their fist. And it wasn't anything special.
Oh my god, we have a wharf down here? First we got a lake, and now we got a wharf on the lake? Actually, they're telling me we have like a boardwalk or something. Gah. One of those weird coincidences, what can I tell ya? Any clues or any... I doubt they have a suspect, but they might have a clue.
Other than us.
Right, I think they might have a clue. I think asking any suspects is not likely to help us.
Yeah.
Any clues? Any clues on what happened to Lore? Anything else at the scene? Carla Zora leans against the wall. She looks tired.
Nothing concrete. He'd been dragged a short distance to the lake, lots of scuffed claw prints, and a recognizable wound shape. We'd know the talon if we saw it again. Honestly, we were hoping you'd know something. Anything. None,
I'm afraid.
He was found in the lake with his throat slashed. Still had cash on him, and no one had touched his jewelry.
Oh, really? Do you think I could take that? If no one else... I mean, if no one else is, right? You said no one touched the jewelry, so, like, it's up for grabs, right? Is that... right? I mean, I'm just preventing it from going to waste, that's all. I'm really doing a service for you. You could just drop it off outside.
Fuck, what a way to go. I've seen worse. Usually murders have more of a point, though. This wasn't a mugging, and it was too sloppy to be a professional hit. Anyway, if you can't help me...
She leaves the sentence hanging and glares intently at you.
Then I need to get back to the office and write up my report. Unexplained kaiju side isn't exactly rare, but it still doesn't look good for the department.
We should go get that drink together one of these days, Carla.
I'd like that, Kari. Maybe when we both learn to relax enough to leave our work behind.
That could take a while.
Stranger things have happened.
That time we were working on the double kidnapping case that was just a cover for the mayor's children run away, for example.
Don't remind me. I still get nightmares about that mess.
They never did find all the bits, did they? Got the kids back safe, though.
Just don't do anything foolish, Kari. Alex, please stop them from getting themselves killed. Can't promise anything. You know how they can be. Look after yourself, Detective Inspector.
She walks out, slamming the door behind her in a way that is uniquely Carla. Your cup nearly rattles off the desk.
I can't believe you two used to date.
I can't believe I used to date. Full stop. That was a long time ago, before she became a cop. Not gonna say it was my worst breakup, but it was definitely the loudest. Which is a strange metric, but also, like, indisputable, so, you know.
Do you regret it?
Meh, what we had? Not at all. She was my first date's relationship, and it was what I needed to put in my life at the time. Then she signed up to be a thug for the city, and that sort of thing kills the romantic mood.
You're a weird monster.
I am multi-dimensional, and I will thank you to remember it. But I'm a weird monster with a lead.
And a dead contact. Oh, and you're the key suspect in the murder of that contact.
I did not... You know I didn't murder him. No doubt, Carla's polite, but she's not clueless. To keep an eye out for tails when I head out. My god. If monsters are around, do you think Miles Tails Prower is around too? You know, I want to see the tiny little man with the two tails. Looking very happy. And how do you think they spin around like that when he runs? Like, biologically, how does that work?
It's quite unclear.
Not happy Lore's dead. He was an asshole, but that doesn't mean he deserves to end up in the lake.
Who do you think killed him?
Whoever doesn't want us to find that rock.
And what do we do about it?
Simple. We find the rock that they don't want us to find. Don't you think I know a rock when I see a rock?
How are you planning on doing that if it's so simple?
By following the money, my dear Alex. We follow the money.
And not getting killed in the process of following it, I hope.
Well, that's the idea. Keeping my paws crossed that I don't end up going for a swim myself.
What about Rax's?
Unless, do we have, like, a beach?
It's unclear.
A jetty. A pier? Help me out here. What about Rax's case? Oh, that's you.
What about Rax's case, the missing sister?
I was about to portmanteau those, and then I figured out that would be in very poor taste in this one particular instance, so I will not portmanteau those two words.
Fair enough.
What about it? We can't just show off that pendant to every kaiju in the city hoping to get a response. And Rax gives us more to work with, or you remember where you've seen that design. Or randomly bump into someone on the street holding a "looking for my brother" sign.
None of those sound hopeful.
Do I strike you as a particularly hopeful person, Alex?
I'll make it a sketch of the design. Maybe it'll help me remember. Then you can take it back.
Ah, thanks, Alex. Appreciate the help.
And I appreciate new office furniture. Speaking of which, my new chair is getting delivered tomorrow.
Do you want to getting one of those ball chairs? Or a normal one? Can't wait to see it. I bet it'll be glorious. Gonna leave me hanging, huh? That's fine.
Just something more appropriate for me to park my scales.
All right. You keep your hands close to your chest. That's fine. You deserve it. Waves you away.
You best get moving. The note says you need to be over on the other side of the city in an hour.
Ah.
Stay safe out there, Kari. I mean it. Whoever knocked off Lore means business.
I'll keep my eyes open and stay away from open bodies of water. You just make sure the lights stay on.
I'll do my best.
You always do. Fist bump? Yeah, we fist bump. It's late evening in the Undercity, and the crystals that illuminate the city, charged by thermal radiation of the outside world, are already beginning to dim. Only the central stones, locally known as Zilla's balls, maintain their pale blue glow throughout the night. Oh no! They say they've got to go. Lengthening shadows and casting most of the city into gloom. The central hub of the city, where most affluent kaiju build their mansions of stone, get the best of the light. Compared to the dingy district where you'd set up your office, it was almost like walking under the sun itself. Or so you imagine. Even in the light, we get a second hand. Or to imagine living somewhere that's not always in shadow.
In shadow?
Nah, who said that? Why would you make me repeat the phrase "in shadow"? The note from Lore directs you to the front gate of a particularly discreet house on one of the gaudiest streets you've ever seen. While the other houses flaunted wealth, mimicking ostentatious human styles scaled up to kaiju sizes, this one is a simple box of stone. Still big, though. Scaled living for a kaiju who gives a tight claw on their money. You pull the heavy chain beside the gate. Minutes pass until a voice croaky and uncaring echoes out to the sparkling tube.
No soliciting, proselytizing, or political campaigning. Whatever it is you're selling, I don't want any.
You lean in close to the tube and clear your throat. Not selling anything. I was told to come here by the late Laura Thrack about a business matter. The response takes another minute to return.
The late Laura Thrack.
Yeah, because he hadn't shown up yet. Get it? Also, he's dead. You didn't hear? There was an unfortunate incident, and regrettably, Lauren is no longer with us. Another long pause.
You'd best come in.
The gate buzzes and opens with a heavy click. You straighten your hat, put on your most deadpan expression, and head through the gate towards the Stark mansion. The door is opened by an older kaiju in a smart bow tie and a grim expression.
You would be the detective Laura spoke of, correct?
Oh my god, yes, but first can we talk about how fucking dapper you look?
Thank you.
It is incredibly dapper. Oh my god, our colors match. If I'm not, then I need to take the name off my office door. They narrow their eyes, clearly not impressed. Yes, I am the detective. Karibara is my full name.
And my name is Xandron. You may call me Xander.
Is that your real name?
No, but it'll do for the time being. You're quick off the mark with your questions, detective.
Why Xander? It's not like shorter. It's the same number of syllables of Xandron. I guess it saves you like one letter, but just seems unnecessary, you know? If I don't keep asking questions, I'm afraid I might explode with curiosity.
A dangerous habit in this city.
Well, only if you have something to hide. Would you rather I stop? No. Don't show weakness.
Okay.
Only if you have something to hide.
We all have something to hide, detective. Even you, I don't doubt.
I only hide other kaiju secrets. It's easier that way.
Are you good at keeping secrets?
As good as the next monster. Xander leads you into a drawing room, old furniture and low lighting. This is a big place. You don't have any help? Gesturing for you to sit down, Xander lowers themselves onto a chair, tentacles wrapping into time-worn grooves in the stone.
Good help is hard to find, detective. Besides, I don't need much to keep this little home of mine ticking along.
Little? This room is bigger than my whole office. I'd get lost trying to find the bathroom. But I didn't come here to compare domestic arrangements.
No, of course. Poor Lore, rest his hide, said you wished to discuss a delicate matter.
I must say, you don't seem particularly shaken by his loss.
After your first few centuries, you start to learn how fragile life is. None of us last forever. I will miss him, though. Would you at least do me the courtesy of telling me how he met his end?
I only learned about it an hour ago. He was found in the lake with a slit throat.
That was not so delicately put, detective.
You didn't ask for delicate, Xander.
No, I didn't, did I? Lore was my friend for the last 100 years or so. I wish he could have met a nicer end.
There are definitely better ways to go.
That is an undeniable truth.
The police don't have any leads. No surprises there. Do you have any idea who could have done it?
Someone with a grudge. Old ones know he made enough enemies in life.
A coincidence you should mention the old ones. You know, of course, why he arranged this meeting.
The stone, yes. An object of immense value and importance, steeped in mystery, stained with the deaths of many.
Big red rock.
Indeed.
I could 3D print you one. It would look exactly the same. Probably be a little bit lighter, too, actually. And something you would quite like to get your tentacles on, huh?
Oh, indeed, detective. You have no idea how much I covet that idol.
I'm getting an impression.
The monetary value alone makes it an object of true desire. The intrigue it's cloaked in only makes me want it more.
And how was it Lore's job to get it for you? Xander lets out a ragged laugh.
Not quite. Lore was far from the diplomatic sort and wouldn't have been able to obtain it himself.
Nah.
He was a surprisingly good tracker, though, once he had the scent. I had given him the job of locating the idol and acquiring the services to get it into the city.
Which is where my case aligns with your quest, huh? And then what happened?
I wish I knew, detective. I provided a significant sum of money to fund him. Next thing he tells me the artifact is gone along with the hired importer. If it weren't for the fact that I've spent most of my considerable life trying to obtain the statue, I would have written it off as a loss. Maybe I'm just a victim of sunk cost fallacy, but I can't bear the thought of giving up the chase this late in the game.
I'm guessing you'd be quite interested in getting your tentacles on the rock, huh?
More than you could possibly imagine, Detective. There are few things in this life I desire as much as the idol.
Name several.
I cannot, there are a few.
No. Well, I tried to catch you and you caught me in the act. That's fine. And it's lucky for you that I'm on the case to find it.
You were the professional that Lore hired for the job.
Lore hired a professional? I'm afraid it's rather more complicated than that. You fill Xander in on the case so far, leaving out the drugging in the hotel and the missing Maxora.
So you
Also, you have an X too. I guess yours is at the front, so it's not like the hard sound, which is fine, but consider changing that X to a Z.
No. So you would be what exactly? A subcontractor here to clean up the mess?
Something like that. You want the rock, I want to get paid. Maxora wants to clear her name.
And Lore died not long after you took on the case. That does look highly suspicious.
Unfortunately, it doesn't look good for me, especially when the police turn up on my doorstep with a blood-stained envelope with my name on it. Which is why it doesn't feel like this was just some random kaiju's side. In this job, you learn not to trust coincidences.
You may have a point, Detective.
Also, just throwing this out there, if I did kill him, would I have left him with a piece of paper with my name in his hand?
Maybe you suck.
I didn't come here to point. We didn't come here to hurt each other's feelings, did I? Come on. I thought we were above that.
Do you want to know what history has to say about the idol?
More than anything. I have a feeling you're going to tell me whether I say yes or no. Maxora said it was something about whomever has the rock gets to rule. Something like that?
In effect, although the history is mostly oral and pictograms, enough of it has survived to tell the story.
Rad.
And in the final days of our kind, a stone of blood shall hold the key to our survival. Guard it well, and the power within shall lead us into the future.
Stone of blood, huh? I didn't think blood coagulated that well. It'd be pretty brittle. Do you believe it? And do you believe all that, Xander? A magic stone of power waiting for someone to grab it?
What I believe is immaterial, child. I've devoted a significant portion of my life to acquiring it. That is all you need to know.
Call me child, and there will be a whole bunch of hat up in your face in a moment.
In this
the hat
world,
from my head that's the hat, because I will headbutt you.
In this world, if you have fought for something this long, you don't simply stop wanting it because it's a challenge. You want it more.
So the question is, who else knows? Maxora says the only kaiju she told was her contact who was delivering the idol, and they mysteriously died too. Laura assured me that he only went through Maxora. How he met her, I don't know, so that's another dead end. No pun intended, but, boom, got him.
That was poor taste, Detective.
But am I wrong, though?
No.
Okay. See? That wasn't so hard, was it? That means one of you three spilled their guts.
If you're making these morbid puns intentionally, they are not appreciated.
Sorry. So someone knew about the trade-off when the idol was to cross the gates, and they knew that Laura was the go-between for the three of you. Who else knows? One of you isn't telling me the whole story, and now I've got one less kaiju to interrogate.
What makes you so sure it's not this Maxora giving you the runaround?
Because she's scared shitless right now, pardon my language. She thought Laura was coming after her when the deal went south, and I don't blame her. So tell me, Xander, who else knows? Who wants the Crimson Old One, and who is prepared to kill for it? I don't like seeing folks end up in the lake, even if they have been impolite to me. The room is silent except for the crackling of fire in the hearth.
This isn't the first time I've gone after the idol.
You've been after it for a long time, you said.
Correct, and in that time I've dealt with some rather unscrupulous creatures. Ones who I thought I'd parted ways with many years ago.
Ones who might have wanted the statue as much as you.
Detective, let me be direct. No one wants that statue more than I.
Except for statue craving Jake, but,
He's a statistical outlier and should not be counted.
I figured as much.
But yes, there are those who covet the prize also, be it out of greed or spite.
Did they know Lore was involved?
Probable. Lore was my friend that was known to a few kaiju. Maybe my only friend. He was around for several of my attempts to retrieve the idol.
You tap your claws on the arm of the chair. Who's left, Xander? And of all the bastards you've worked with before, which of them are still alive and would kill for some magic rock? Who wants it bad enough? The hunched figure sits nearly motionless in their chair, staring into the fireplace. Eventually, they look up, their face contorted in frustration.
EnbyKaiju.
Oh?
EnbyKaiju, an old associate of mine. They were with me when I first went after the idol. Back when I didn't have two rocks to rub together. She and I never quite saw eye to eye about the methods that were acceptable to get hold of the old one. As such, our relationship soured somewhat.
You mean she would have killed to get it, huh?
At the very least, detective. EnbyKaiju comes from a position of some great privilege. As such, she doesn't put much of a value on those she sees as inferior.
Unlike you. I mean, look at this place. You gesture around at the huge house and lavish furnishings.
My current financial situation is not a point of debate here.
Oh my god, You're doing the invisible oranges pose. You're either evil or a metalhead. Which one is it?
Either, both.
I don't like the fact that people associate those two together immediately. Xander's voice drops into the drawl of the street, although from several centuries past.
But I'll have you know, I clawed myself up from the gutter to get here. And while you're guest in this house, you'd best not make assumptions.
Straightening up, Xander returns to their calm demeanor. My apologies. I let my tongue get the better of me sometimes. So this EnbyKaiju, are they still around?
Oh, undoubtedly. Money has a habit of keeping rotten fruit on the vine.
Do you know where I can find her? I might have to go pay her a little social call.
I wouldn't advise that, detective.
Why is that? Don't you think I'd fit into high society? Look at my hat. I'm getting a new one next week.
Honestly, no. I also don't think it would be good for your health.
Going to the hat store later, though. You think EnbyKaiju would kill me for asking where the rock is?
Of course not. EnbyKaiju isn't the type to get her hands dirty.
Okay, then what?
I think she would have someone else kill you.
Okay.
Quickly and quietly, in a way much like our departed colleague, Lore.
That kind of character, huh?
Most definitely. EnbyKaiju won't have touched anyone to do with this endeavor, but she has her claws curled tightly around many of this city's strings. If you decide to pursue this fool's errand, I won't stop you. I want that idol, and EnbyKaiju most likely has it secreted in her hoard. But if she does have it, then you are highly unlikely to get your paws on it without great personal risk.
Risk begets reward, or I have a job to do. What's our attitude here? We're not a risk taker. We want the bills paid.
Yeah.
I'm on the case, Xander. You can't just abandon it because it's dangerous. If I quit now, I'd only be letting Maxora and yourself down, but myself too. I'd cheat not only the game, but myself.
You would put yourself in harm's way on principle.
It wouldn't be the first time. Hopefully it won't be the last. Xander stands and you follow suit. They extend a tentacle and you shake it. I meant to shake this, right?
Then you're a braver monster than I.
This is the shaking tentacle, right? Not one of the other tentacles?
Whether you choose to go after the idol or not, please tell Maxora that she is in no danger from me. I consider the debt moot, considering the circumstances.
They reach down into a small box by the chair, flip through the cards inside, and pull out a rather old and ornately decorated card.
EnbyKaju's address. If they are within the city limits, this is where she will be, along with my personal seal.
You take the card and slip it into your pocket. Gold leaf flakes off onto your claws. Thank you for your time, Xander. Appreciate you meeting me under these conditions, and I'm sorry about what happened to your friend. If you hear from me again, I'll be returning from my cut of the sale.
And if I don't hear from you...
And throw a flower in the lake for me, because that's probably where I'll be sleeping.
Morbid, you'd make a good writer.
I tried writing once, just couldn't find the words. Boom, got him.
Did you try looking in a dictionary?
Shh. That's a really good idea, actually. Do you know they have all those words just hanging out there for free? You can just take
right?
them. No one else is claiming them. Oh, I think that's it for the first episode of this one. Because, this is about an hour and a half or so? Yeah. We're going to keep playing this until we get to the end because it's our patron pick. So, I mean, I'm loving it so far. This is the kind of stuff I'm about. I big monsters, bigger mysteries. What more is there? What more do you want? We hope you'll enjoy the next couple episodes of this as well. We'll see you next time. Thank you again to all of our patrons for supporting us for another month. The stuff, your generosity helps keep our channel going and allows us to do bigger and better things, and we greatly appreciate that. We'd love to give a super special shout out to the patrons in our I'm Jacked In tier, including Alice Demore,
Alyssa Clarkson,
Chaplin,
Mercury,
Mosca Blanca,
Reyna,
Snow Flurry,
The Fighting Doll,
and Wheel Baron. Everyone who supports us for any amount at patreon.com/8pr gets access to the Patreon Potpourri a month before that episode goes live on the main channel. And they also get access to our completely Patreon exclusive Let's Play of Ace Attorney. We're currently playing through Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations, the second game. So if that sounds like something cool to you and you want to see us play more Ace Attorney stuff, that's one way we reward the people who support us. They also get to vote on whose game on an indie creator for us to play every month. And that's why we're playing Kaiju Noir by EnbyKaiju. Because that's who our patrons voted for this month. So if you want to have a say in whose game will get featured on the channel next month, that's one way you can do it. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Finger guns.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.